Going to talk more about his life with someone who actually knew him, was his personal aide and driver. So sit back, relax. We just have a great half an hour for you, and we're just so happy you're here.
We're so happy that you're here. We're going to educate you, and we're also going to give you some things to do today in case you need something to do that will honor his life and legacy as well. So I don't know if you heard this story, Christine, but back in the summer, Julia Roberts, remember she was born up the road in Smyrna.
Oh, yes.
55 years ago. She just had her birthday, end of October, and she was interviewing with Gayle King on the History Channel, and she told this story that a lot of people did not know. So, did you know this, that Dr. Martin Luther King and his wife, Miss Coretta Scott King, paid the hospital bills for her birth, Julia Roberts' birth?
What?
The King family paid her hospital bills. Let me tell you the story behind it. So, Julia's parents owned and ran a theater company in Atlanta back in the day, in the 60s. And this was still during the time of segregation. And Mrs. King was trying to get her kids into a theater school and couldn't get them in anywhere. She called the Roberts family. They said, of course, your children are always welcome there. They were the only theater school, yes, that was like that in the 60s. And so just kudos to her parents in general. But they went there and they had a great time there. And then at the time when Julia was born, they couldn't pay the bills. And so Dr. King and Mrs. King stepped up and paid the hospital bills. Can you believe?
am stunned.
Yeah.
That is incredible.
Yeah, right?
Oh my
And then
gosh.
Bernice, follow her on Twitter. She's such a good, at Bernice King, I follow her. She's such a good follow, but she tweeted and retweeted the story, and then it gained a lot of traction over the summer. And she said, of course, I know this story well, but I'm glad that you all know it now, too. And we appreciate Julia for highlighting that.
I know. What an incredible connection. And like you said, kudos to her parents for saying, of course, you are more than welcome.
Right.
And, just what kind, wonderful people doing the right thing.
Exactly. And also that her parents had a theater school.
I know.
Who knew?
Cool.
I didn't know that. Maybe everybody else knows.
I didn't
was
know
like,
that
oh,
either.
wow.
I knew she was from Smyrna, but I didn't know that connection too with the acting and theater.
Yeah,
so
it's neat.
I love it.
Okay, so also another thing you can do today if you don't have any plans is you can go to the Hawks game. They play the Heat at 3:30 today.
Oh, great.
And if you do attend, they are honoring the life and legacy of Dr. King. And here's how they're doing it. So Alvin Ailey will be performing at halftime. And then even before the game starts around 1:30, they're going to do panels and questions and highlight some of his major accomplishments. So you can still get tickets. There's some tickets left. The woman who is the chief marketing officer, Melissa Proctor, she said, the Atlanta Hawks are excited to continue celebrating the legacy, influence, and life of Dr. Martin Luther King. So they will be doing that and featuring that throughout the game today. So scoop up a ticket if you don't have anything to do. If you want to stay home and not go outside, you can stream some of these films about Dr. Martin Luther King, and we're going to tell you about them. The first one, I have only seen a few of these, so I was actually very interested. The first one is a 2001 movie, Boycott, starring Emmy winner actor Jeffrey Wright. You can stream this on HBO Max. It focuses on the Montgomery bus boycott of 1955 and 1956. Boycott. The next one is Eyes on the Prize. This is actually a 14 episodes, so you're going to need a few days to watch this. Documentary series about the key events in the civil rights movements and his interactions with those. I Am MLK Jr., that is focusing on his life specifically. King in the Wilderness is a biographer, Taylor Branch, who has done a lot of work on him. Her and another writer, Trey Ellis, co-produced this documentary about the last 2 years of his life. I thought this was interesting. They said, you know, there wasn't a lot of focus on the last 2 years of his life. Most do kind of a wide scope. And so this one seemed interesting to me, King in the Wilderness. Another one that I think Spike Lee had some involvement in, but it's MLK FBI. This actually follows him and is a documentary on his surveillance and the harassment that he received during the time right before he was assassinated. And then, of course, Ava DuVernay, if you haven't seen her film Selma, also a really good one to watch today. So just some things to do if you're looking for him to celebrate and honor this day.
Yes, those great information.
Okay,
I love that.
All right, perfect.
And in the spirit of Dr. King, we are always looking for inspiring, happy, just good for your soul. It's all good stories. Do me a favor, head to our AtlantaandCompany.com page and share the Love to Be Featured. Kara would love to do that.
I would.
We love stories wherever they are, but especially when they're close to home. We love them even more.